One of the other themes that we have in Ultimate Impact is that character and holiness are our spiritual currency. Now, when we think about money, we don't think about, the fact that it's, paper or cotton or whatever coin it's made out of, metal. We think about what it can do for us, what influence it has, right? And when we think about how we are able to influence other people, we are set apart people. We are people that don't live the way the rest of the world lives. Too many times Christians try to get non-Christians to come by being more like the non-Christians. And their excuse is this: well, Jesus hung out with sinners. Well, let me tell you the difference between what Jesus did and what we can often do. Jesus was there to influence them, not to be influenced by them. He did not lower his holiness standards in order to get tax collectors and other kinds of sinners and that kind of thing in. No, he was who he was. He was the Son of God. He was devoted to God the Father. So we, as devoted disciples of Jesus, we don't lower our standards by hanging out with people and to try to get them to become Christians. We live the life of a Christian as consistently as we can. And when they see our lives, they want to know, well, what's different about you? And then we have an opportunity to tell them. But what they're looking for is real character. They're looking for some consistency. They're looking for the integrity. And when they see that, there's a lot of power in that. There's a lot of influence or currency in that. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to, and they're like, well, most of the Christians I've known were just hypocrites. And that's why I don't ever want to go to church. I don't ever want to be a Christian, because who would want to be like a hypocrite? And on one hand, they're right. But on the other hand, if you're here and a hypocrite is standing between you and God, guess who's closer to God? The hypocrite is, right? So what overcomes the negative power of hypocrisy? Even if a person has known 100 hypocrites, but then they meet one sincere, humble Christian that's really trying to live it, that really is loving them, that really is loving God, that one person has more influence than the other 100 for the negative. We can be an influence that is positive through our consistency, through our lifestyle, through our maturing, through our love for God being expressed in different kinds of ways. Jesus said, you're light. Light shines into the darkness. Jesus said that you're salt. Salt brings flavor, and it actually was used as a preservative in the Bible days. They didn't have refrigerators like we do, but they needed something to preserve food. And so as light and as salt, we're calling people up to a higher standard. But the more consistent you are, the better developed your character is, the more mature you are, the more currency you have, the more ability to influence people. Jesus told a parable one time about people who got different amounts of money by a money manager and said, I want you to go out and, you go make me some money with that. And one was not given very much, and you just kind of hid it. And when the master came back, he's like, see, here's what you gave me. I didn't want to lose it. The other two went out and they doubled what they had. And the master was pleased with them. And if we want to have more influence in this life, it's not going to happen by us becoming more like the world and looking more like the world. It's going to come as we love God more, as we stay in these habits that help us to grow and mature more. It's going to be our level of holiness, and certainly not perfection, because even when we do fall, I think people can see if we're humble about that and we try to get back up and we try to be more consistent, that speaks a lot to them too. And so your character, your spiritual influence, your currency, spiritually speaking, is going to be what affects other people. So if you want to be a real change agent in the world, if you want to be a spiritual influencer, this is what we're talking about.